What is up, Spores? Welcome to another episode of the Two Fun Guys podcast. Yeah, the Spores. That's our listeners.
Nice.
Yeah, they spread like
They spread
mycelium.
like
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly.
The psilocybin.
Yeah.
Network grows.
Yeah, exactly. So we're super happy to have you guys, Kelly and Andrew, owners of the Concourse, which
Project.
Along with our partner, David, but yes.
Along with David, who is here with us in spirit
Yes.
today. And the Concourse Project, if you guys, I'm sure if you're in Austin, you know what it is, but for those who maybe don't, it is hands down the best venue that I've been to. And Brent and I love it.
Nice.
We used to be there very, very often. We've been busy, have not been there as much as we'd like, but
Boo.
it is still like, it's a treat anytime we get to go, and we fucking love it. And we're so excited to talk to you guys and your journey of how you started the Concourse Project and real music and like how you came up in the scene and all of this. And I mean, the Concourse continually climbs the ropes in terms of venue status and has been on the DJ Mag Top 100 for last 3 years and keeps getting a better ranking, right?
Yeah.
22 this last year?
Ever since our first year of opening, we hit the DJ Mag goal.
Since year one.
But we just hit our 4-year anniversary, so it was like into year one was the first time. So
Cool.
it has been like 3 of them. Yeah,
Yes,
Amazing.
Number 4 in the U.S. and then 27
4 in the
in
US.
the U.S. I think, right?
27 in the world, number 4 in the US. Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Sweet.
Yes.
Well, I guess the best place to start is, can you give us just a quick background on how you started getting into the scene? Like, let's go all the way back to the beginning, like your first like rave or your first live electronic music event. How did you get into this and what was that like?
So I guess that usually starts with me because I started kind of first, I guess. Like I started going to, I guess you'd say raves and parties and stuff. First one I went to, I was 13 actually. It was New Year's Eve in Houston. My brother took me, older brother.
Yours
to
was
one.
New Year's Eve?
Yes, it was
We
New
both
Year's
had
Eve,
holidays. I was Halloween. He was New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Good to know.
And what year is this
Yeah.
when you start?
So 2000.
Okay.
2000. So that's when I kind of started going to things. I was, very new to the whole scene. And then by 14, so like a year later or less or whatever, I had already started DJing, kind of liking all that. And then I played my first gig actually out at 14, almost 15, kind of 14, 15. area. So I was already, actually the first festival I played, I was 15. So I was already playing like a bunch of big gigs and doing things then. And then, 16, even still in high school, I was still doing stuff and throwing parties and all that kind of thing. And then, I started pretty early.
Because his brother was older than him. And when he went off to college, he started getting into that and is a drum and bass DJ. And so then Andrew's like, what's this? And so that's how he got into it.
Yeah, and I grew up in the Waco area, big up Waco, I guess, even though not really. So I came from there-ish. And then, but I was partying every weekend in like Houston, Dallas kind of area, Austin sometimes, but Austin was very few and far between. And then eventually, I kind of decided once I got out of high school, like, where do I want to go? And Austin just made more sense to me. So I kind of moved to Austin pretty early and started doing my own events and going to clubs and doing all this stuff pretty early too.
And that's when our concurrent stories start, because I start in 2005 and we both moved to Austin independently in 2005. Yeah. I came from San Antonio and I went to UT, so that's why I came to Austin and I consider it home now. But my freshman year, first semester, Halloween night, that was my first experience with like the rave scene. It was like in a forest and it was like culture shock. Like, what is this? But I really liked the music.
It was like a forest rave.
Yes.
Yeah, nice.
And then
But downtown. It was Enchanted Forest. Right?
Enchanted Forest.
Okay.
It's not downtown.
So it wasn't downtown, but it was by campus. So it was like, they had a big tree and stuff inside the venue. So it was like a cool forest vibe, but it was like a venue.
No, it wasn't a venue. It was like woods.
But it was in a building, though.
No, it's not in a building.
Enchanted Forest?
No.
Unless they changed it, but I remember it being like
it's straight forest. Anyway.
Okay.
That was enchanted.
Right,
are you going to look it up right now?
Yeah.
Oh my God. For real. Like,
ChatGPT.
there was multiple events there.
Yeah, we have to fact check this. We have to know for sure.
Yeah. Enchanted
Later. Thank you. A little bubble pop up to see who was right. But anyway, so mine was in a forest, Halloween, and then I just like dove in. And at the time, the scene was so much smaller and growing. So like everyone that was into electronic music, like you would go to the same events that particular weekend. So there'd be like one on Friday and maybe one on Saturday. And it wasn't like how it is now where there's so many different options and styles and you kind of choose which like lane you're in. It was just like a small little core that was growing and people would go to those shows. And so through mutual like associations, in multiple ways, we came to be like friends and eventually I mean, we both like promoted for like the entity that would like throw shows at the time, and he would DJ. I started my dance group, so we would perform for shows. And actually, when I look back on it, he was my friend, so he actually helped like connect me with some gigs in the beginning. So like we're part of each other's stories like all along.
Yeah.
And then I started throwing my own birthday parties. It was like Kelly's bitchin' birthday bash. And he also would help me like secure the warehouse. And like on the lineup, he would play like Alan, who became our production manager. And
that was actually a warehouse on Burleson that we used to throw parties at, which now we're off Burleson now too for Concourse Project. So just
there's a lot of full circle.
But way in a different area, but on Burleson. But
so yeah, we both like kind of worked our asses off as individuals and friends. That was like our mutual, connection. And we were really good friends and would laugh a lot and all of that stuff. And then eventually, in 2008, we got together officially. And then by 2009, we started doing our own shows. So it was Real Music Events, like as the, parent company of all our events until like even current, So that was like the main thing is Real Music Events. And that pivoted from his record label, Real Music Recordings. So he used to focus on that.
Good point. Yeah. So I did open a record label when I was in high school still. I was one of the first labels ever on Beatport too. So I had a bunch of big artists there. So that's actually how I started. Well, started DJing, then did the record label. I kind of went a weird way, right? And then started doing parties later or whatever. But I started throwing shows when we had first were friends, 2007, whatever, as real music events through Real Music Recordings, which is the label. But I wasn't like officially like Real Music Events wasn't established. It was more like one of my friends was like, "Oh, we're gonna call it Real Music Events." I'm like, "Okay, that's what it is then, sure."
But then when we got together, we're like, "Let's start doing this." Like, okay. And it was like we consider our start date 2009, even though there's some like precursor events prior to that. But that's when we started doing like consistent events. Like started every month, then the frequency started picking up like every couple weeks, and then every weekend, and then multiple shows a weekend, and it just kept growing, and the size was growing. Like we started with these like small, intimate 100-person shows, and like a little light bar was one of the venues, and then just continued to grow, utilize different venues.
Back then it was weird, like to even do like more than one show a month was weird. And then I always bring this up because I know
I was like, he's gonna bring it up.
I just always remember it. So like there was a time where we did a thing called Mayhem, Mayhem, but it was during May, and we did 4 shows in 1 month, and like,
that was crazy.
Everyone was like, "Oh my god, 4 shows! You guys are fucking crazy!" Like, blah, blah, blah. Oh my god, it was 1 show a week. And everyone was like, I mean, now just totally different. But I just always that stands out in my mind because like at the time it was like. That was like revolutionary, and also it was like to do that many shows in 1 month. Like you guys are,
there's levels to the game.
Yeah, it's just like
are you like 22 at the time? How?
Yeah, we were.
So I was 20. Was that 2010, 2009, 2010? I'm 40 now.
I mean, so if we started in 2009, and then like by 2010 is probably when Mayhem started. But
so 15 years ago. So I'd be 25.
So I'm 38 now. He's 40 now. Yeah. So we've been going at it for.
What was the drive?
We were in our early 20s.
What was the drive to? You never thought of like another drop? You were just so into the scene. You're like,
no, it was definitely like we wanted to build the scene. I mean, the thing for us is like because we were working for other promotion companies and stuff originally, and it was like, hey, like especially for me, like I've always been kind of a DJ first, and I love music, and so for me, my passion was like, bring other artists to town, people that I've kind of brought up, or people that I liked, or people that we liked, whatever, and no one's gonna do it but us, right? So it was like, okay, like I would even offer,
particularly the emerging artists. No one was bringing like emerging artists, and especially like in the different like nooks and crannies that we were listening to. It was more like kind of mainstream, some big names like Cascade, Benny Benassi,
and those
were
like always coming back every year, right? Rinse and repeat. It was like Cascade every year, So we're like, well, this is.
Do love them though.
Yeah, do like them, but it was like, okay, let's do something different. Let's build this.
You're welcome back every year.
Yeah, but like, let's do something different, So it was like for us, it was like, okay, let's just some of these artists that aren't coming that are great. Like, why aren't they coming? Let's do it ourselves because no one else is going to do it but us, right? So that's kind of how it started.
Yeah, I mean, it started as he was always as a DJ. He was always kind of like forward thinking in terms of like what music he was listening to and playing, and then with his label as well. So like he had booked, or I don't know if booked is the right word. He had signed some artists to his label or released some tracks with certain artists when they were like small, and he just had a knack for finding and discovering artists, and they end up like becoming like huge artists.
Wow.
Like Matt Zo's one.
Yeah, Matt Zo's one. I mean,
there's many, and you'll be like, oh yeah, they used to be on my label.
Especially now, I feel like more come out all the time too. It's like people. I mean, for artists, right? it takes a long time sometimes for people to do whatever, and also they start in one area and they end somewhere else. But like even for myself at the time, like I was super into trance, and like I still love trance, but I like so many things now too. But it's like at the time I was very into that, so we were doing a lot of trance artists.
And that was
at the
music
time,
style
too.
at the time. There's like more progressive trance and all that. So that's a lot of what we would bring. And
Like, I mean, Chris Lake, even if he did our 1 year anniversary, and even he remembers us from back then. And like, he's a close homie of ours too. And he's like,
and this is also like at that 100 cap venue.
Yeah. And even he's like, It's insane. It's like, we're one of the only promoters he remembers from even back then, that's still around. We've been doing this for a long time, but also we've been cultivating like, a big scene forever too. Like, one of the other weird ones that sticks out all the time is like, we booked Avicii when nobody knew the hell he was. And like,
the show got canceled because he ended up getting an offer to do
the World
Cup in like South America.
And
they're like, sorry, we can't. They're like, but we already like signed for this.
But then they're like, we'll get it back
for $4,000.
Yeah, for like nothing.
Wow.
They're like, we'll get it back to you. It's all good. But when they came back, they're like, it's $8,000.
He's like, blow.
I don't have
like,
$8,000, bro.
8,000. Now, by the end,
things were
he's
$8,000
probably
now.
like
That's insane.
multiple six figures. But
So yeah, just funny stuff like that too. But yeah, it's just I remember back then too. Like when we paid like $10,000 for an artist, I'm like, oh my god, $10,000 is insane. Like,
well, Austin
people knew what people got now. Like it would blow their minds.
Austin used to get skipped a lot for shows, right? Like good artists didn't really come through here very much.
Yeah.
And I feel like Concourse Project had a lot to do with bringing the big names here. Was that because of like your connections to these people, labels?
Started prior to Concourse.
Really?
It just might be on more people's radar now that Concourse is open. But like part of that story, just to go back to it, is so we started doing our shows, doing them at different venues. Then like in 2012 or 2013, we became partners of the original Kingdom, and he handled like the bookings and the calendar. And so the majority of the shows were real music events. And that was our claim to fame there. It had very solid like lighting and sound, and it was intimate, so that was like 300 cap. But he would book like really big artists like Eric Prydz. They did these like novelty like gigs because he's worked with so many agents for so long, and they respect like his taste and like what he brings and all of that. So we would be able to get some of these really big artists for like an underplay and play in this intimate venue, which would be a really special experience. So we had these like really rich, like small intimate events for so long, and then we would sometimes do shows at other venues when we needed a larger cap. And then once we did the Concourse Project and segue to that, and Seismic, our festival, we just kept going. But now like it's 2,000 people per show is the regular. And
so we definitely like, built the scene up from like much smaller. But the other thing is like kind of like to your point is, I mean, definitely like tours, big tours, right? If you're doing like, most of them are going to be like either solo big tours if they're new, but maybe a Live Nation or AEG tour, because those are the two biggest promoters in the world, right? So they're going to come through and do like Dallas, Houston, massive markets, and then maybe in Austin. And it's still kind of like that. Like maybe we'll hit Austin. I mean, I think with us for sure, we kind of added a large enough venue to hit those things now. So I get your point. There definitely are more of those tours hitting Austin for sure because of what we're doing. But then also just to, which normally I would never do, but also shout out to, Live Nation and C3 for doing the big Moody amphitheater, or not amphitheater, but the big Moody what's the other Coliseum-y thing?
Okay.
Because that too, I mean, even that's pretty small when you're talking about like, a Taylor Swift or something, right?
Well,
like
which one are you talking about?
The Moody
thing.
The
amphitheater?
Not the amphitheater, the other one. Moody Center. So Moody Center, it's 15,000 cap, but even that, like, those big artists like Taylor Swift or something wouldn't come here because there's nothing big enough for them, right? So even this is kind of small when you're talking about like Houston, Dallas tours, right? And you're talking LA, you're talking New York, you're talking Miami, you're talking big markets. Austin's kind of like a tertiary market compared to like the big markets.
It's like B level.
Right.
It's not quite A yet.
So we definitely do get more of those acts now because we have like Concourse Projects in some places to put them for sure. But like it's still different because Austin still is smaller than, a New York, LA, whatever. So,
but I would also say like all the years of cultivating like those shows and bringing more like underground, like you can say underground and some people will be like, that's not underground enough. And then it's too underground for the mainstream. Anyway, it's a spectrum. But the more relatively underground compared to like commercial dance music, like house and techno, and like Carl Cox, we had booked. It was the last show we did before COVID hit. It was like the day before Austin's first cases. It was like March 13th or something like that.
Literally.
And that was before Concourse. So we had that at Fair Market. Right? Fair Market. Yeah, Fair Market. And kind of like a warehouse feel and all of that. And so big acts like that, because Carl Cox is like a legend, right? But it's still like in the house and techno realm. And so because we'd kind of like earned our street cred to be able to book artists like that, we would get some of those shows. And then sometimes those other markets like Dallas or Houston wouldn't. Or sometimes we would see that they would get them and like ours would sell out first because we had like spent so much time and effort cultivating like special sounds and parts of our scene. Whereas cities so much larger than ours would maybe focus more on just mainstream stuff that they wouldn't even do as well or bring numbers as good as we could for certain acts. So that's kind of like part of like the story. And
yeah, Concourse is an interesting one too because like he hadn't played here since 2000 or 99 or something. He played at Austin Music Hall. I don't know if anybody knows Austin Music Hall, but back in the day that used to be the big massive venue where some big shows would happen. So it was like 3,500 cap or something. So he played there. Fatboy Slim played there. Big stuff like back when the big rave days were 99, 2000. So he hadn't even played here until then. So, something that we've been working on for years and years and years. And so the first time for him to come back right before the pandemic was with us. And then Fatboy Slim actually came back recently with us, hadn't played since then too. So yeah, it's just kind of like an interesting thing where the scene definitely back in 99, 2000 was in a different place. Like there were a lot of bigger like raves and, stuff like that. And then the whole crack house law and all that kind of stuff, everything kind of went back to the clubs and then it got small again. And then, it's been building it back from that again. But yeah, it's just been an interesting ride for sure.
Yeah. And you see that trend actually throughout in like the whole industry. Like, so it goes from like those massives to more like club shows. Like legitimate, productions of events, not just raves. So it was nice to actually start having the balance of like there's the more like underground, like ravey kind of side of things, and then there's the more like formalized club side of things that were like shows or concerts in a venue. And then as that continued to grow and the popularity grew in the country and globally, then it shifts. Right now, what's popular is the very large scale, like modern warehouse experience, where when I feel like it's just all things come together very magically, but that happened to be the next trajectory for us in finding Concourse because we needed a new home for our shows year round, as well as a home for the festival. So that was part of like how we secured that particular spot. Is it looked conducive to having our indoor like warehouse for the volcano stage, and it had outdoor field for like our tsunami stage. And we were actually actively looking for a different venue for our festival. We had used like the Austin American Statesman prior to that for one edition, and
2.0.
Yeah, so like the need for like 360 home for regular shows for world music events, as well as home for Seismic, they both became fulfilled with finding Concourse, which was just like a blank warehouse shell at the time. And then we brought in our partner David from San Francisco, and because he'd worked with venues and clubs and did audio in San Francisco, which was similar to the venue that we did here prior to Concourse, and we knew that team, and there were synergies also through multiple associations. And we looked at another venue that used to be like Lucky Lounge here in Austin, and right before we signed the lease for it, like David got apprehensive because he was like, it's just too small for it to like make sense. And I was like, listen, like we're not going to find another venue. Like Austin downtown proper is like tapped out of like real estate, and everything is small. Like if you think about all like the venues downtown, like bars, everything is smaller. So it's like, this was like 500 cap, and like this is good. Like we don't really need any bigger than that. And he wanted to hold off, and I was like, we're not going to find something. And sure enough, when we found the warehouse, that I was like, I asked some questions about the guy next door was Eli, who actually, there's like so many stories with him.
Yeah, no, so many stories the way it all came out. Well, so like once we lost Kingdom, I guess to go back slightly, is once we lost Kingdom due to Nate Paul bullshit, whatever, I don't really want to go down that road. But then we were, like she said, looking for a new venue just to find something for Seismic was kind of the main thing. But then also when we went to go maybe do a New Year's Eve party, which we were going to do down at Austin American Statesman, they started being kind of weird about capacity and the fire marshals and sound and whatever. So we're like, let's find another spot. And one of our friends who used to own the main venue that we used to go to and promote at back in the day in 2007, 2008, Sky Lounge, was like, I got this new spot out here. Blah,
Latin
blah.
Club.
Yeah, which is still there. So now currently it's Mala Santa. It's right by Concourse Project.
Used to be Planeta.
Yeah, so we went to go look at that. He's like, come look at my new spot. And so we went to go look at that. Like maybe we do New Year's Eve there. And then
we did, but I was also like, what's going on with that building over there?
It was just a big ass like warehouse thing.
Wouldn't be interested. It's just like a shell, no plumbing, anything. And like
Kelly's like, actually,
especially with like our festival and our special events, that's what we did, is like you do a pop-up like venue, and we would have our uplights and all kinds of things, and you'd create the ambiance. And so having just like a blank slate was like a good thing, you know? And so got the like landlord's information and was able to pry. And then it took like years of planning because then COVID hit. We thought we lost the project, but then we were able to use that time to like reset. Because other than that, we didn't have a break from doing shows. It was just constant. Like our whole life was just like work, do our shows over the weekend, do our shows over the weekend. Wow. And COVID was like a forced reset, but then we were able to like kind of tinker with our plans and figure out a business model for the Concourse Project where if we stayed in a COVID world, we'd do pods. If we got out of it, we'd have our normal show pro forma. And yeah, we eventually opened in 2021. We just hit our actual 4-year anniversary from when we did our first indoor show. Yeah. Last week. Yeah, and it's been like a constant evolution, and that's always the thing. And that's the core fundamental about both of us and our roots, and everyone who works for us knows this, but we're like, it's a do-it-yourself mentality. So that's why we started doing our own shows, because we just wanted to bring something fresh and put our spin on it and like produce the show and have the whole experience be like with the details that we saw, and it just grows and you just keep building on what you've done. And we couldn't necessarily foresee what we are doing today then, but we knew we were going to be doing something. Yeah.
And I think even with Concourse Project, once we finally did find that and whatever, really like the driving force was like, A, obviously we lost Kingdom, but then B, it was like we were still doing shows here and there, especially in COVID. We were still doing some stuff there, you know, too. But it was like, it just kind of got frustrating to be like doing so much and working so hard. And like, especially someone like her who's so meticulous. And I will say she's the reason why we are where we are. She's like incredible at like doing the small little things that you never think about, that I definitely don't think about. She's like, oh, this plant is facing the wrong direction. This light looks like trash. Like, oh yeah, you're right, it does. So like, she's just really good at that stuff, and so I think that's what sets it apart. But like, you know, that it just became one of those things where it's like we got so tired of going into other spaces and making their space better, but also like in Austin, just because we've been doing it for so long, and like one of the frustrations was like no one here wanted to spend the money to do anything. Like anywhere we go, like, hey, like you should do this, like that's a great idea, but no, you know, like maybe add some lights, maybe do something. So it was like, okay, fuck, like let's just open our own place where we can spend the money, do the thing. But because, I mean, the honest truth is like Concourse Project, when we opened, like no one thought that thing could exist here. No one thought, especially being outside of downtown, would exist. I mean, I know because I've worked here forever. Like I know that even my own mentality was like, gotta be downtown, right? And then when we like did this, it was like, actually, I don't think we do, because we're doing shows. People are going to want to go to these shows. We're doing the best shows, the biggest artists. Like people are going to travel to do that. And so when we started it was like, but I would say like most venue owners who have, you know, most venue owners that own places here own the property, or they've been here for 30 fucking years, or they're, you know what I mean? Like a lot of them own other spaces, whatever. I don't think any of them thought what we were doing made sense, you know? But now I think everyone's probably like, well, shit, like I really wish I'd been a part of this, or maybe we can do this too, you know? So it's just one of those things is like, we know the market and we've just kind of been doing this for so long too. But I will say like, there's no one that I talked to that was like, yes, let me give you $1 million to do it. That didn't happen. Bootstrapped all this shit. Like we paid for everything ourselves, and our partner, like, you know, like we worked our asses off to get there. And some investors. But I'm saying like, it wasn't like one of those things where it's like anyone was just like, you know, it wasn't easy is all I'm saying. Yeah. Like, but now I'm like, I think that it has definitely changed people's mentality in the market, you know? So.
Yeah. I remember going to one of the Seismics and it wasn't opened yet. It was the one that was like right outside.
That was the
May. That was
3.3.
3.3. Because all of our editions were like 1.0, 2.0, 3.3 because we had to change the date multiple times because of COVID.
Yeah.
So that was in May, and yeah, the inside wasn't done yet, so everything was outside. It was the only time Volcano Stage was outside, and it was like propped up against the building. Yeah. And then later that fall or winter, what do you want to call it, was when we did 4.0, and that was once Concourse was actually opened inside. So September 10th, 9th or 10th, pretty sure it's 10th, is when September 10th is when our Concourse anniversary is, and that was our first show with Boris Brejcha in 2021. So
I remember going in there the first time because I used to raving in Seattle. They don't let you rave anywhere. So it was always like little pop-ups under freeways. And you'd have the venue for like a month, and then they would deem it a drug addict festival, and then they would ban it, even though now most of Seattle's that anyways. And then or like underground freeways or whatever. And I remember walking into a clean warehouse with an amazing sound system, and it's not dripping from the ceiling. The bathroom doesn't look insane, and you're like, it's air conditioned kind of. Like, this is crazy. My mind was blown
straight up.
because I'm 42, like coming from the
rave days.
Exactly.
I
was like, holy shit.
Now these youngins are so
No, they're so
spoiled.
They're so
spoiled.
They'll find shit to complain about.
Like,
you have no idea what.
Texas.
We partied in like that old church, the Hall. Did you ever go to the Hall?
I went to the Hall. Yeah, it's like Brent was saying, like under freeways, or you go into this tiny like we call them $5 haulers, where it's like this $5 to get in this tiny little rave venue, and it's just dingy and broken down. And then sometimes you'd have like actual off the grid raves where you have, old school, you got to call, get an address, show up, and that's what I loved about Concourse too. When we went the first time, we were like, it feels like an old. It has that old school rave energy to it, but it's clean and it's like a place where real adults will go party. Yeah, but it gives you that kind of like nostalgic, ravey energy.
That was the goal too.
That was the goal.
Yeah, you feel like I'm not in a club.
Yeah,
totally.
It was
and that's
like
totally
tying back to like the history of the roots of the scene and even our Austin scene. Because like we said, people would do shows at different Burleson warehouses and concourses on Burleson Road. That's just by chance. It was a nice little like uncanny thing. But
it's an Easter egg.
It was exactly. It was tying in like history with a little Easter egg with modern like culture. So
yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that has come up a bunch. I mean, I know several people that are a little bit older in the scene and whatever, and they're just like, I mean. What I do love is like you pull up to the Concourse Project and you're like, what the fuck? It's so unassuming, especially if you haven't been there before. And then one of the things I used to love, especially when we first opened, is like just being there at the front and then people like come in, and like, this is cool. And then they turn that corner.
Turn the corner.
They just stop and they're like, just like, that's like such a cool feeling to also just to watch people experience that. You're like,
sound, especially like earlier on the early days. Most people have experienced that many times at this point. But like, you hear that sound when people turn the corner.
Yeah.
Like,
which is just so
that's from the hallway, like the main hallway, and you turn to like the main room and you see all the production. And you're like, ew.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of the things. I mean, I love that people have that feeling because I definitely like think about when I first started come up. Like you said, like I wish I could have experienced some shit like this when I first got into the scene. And now it's nice to provide that to people because it is cool to have that little like middle ground. I think it's badass.
I mean, I bet the artists that come through they probably give you crazy compliments.
Yeah.
Probably like, what is this?
I mean, they love it. Yeah. I mean, that's also one of the things too, is like, we always want the artists to be like very happy. And like, that's, definitely start there. Like, obviously we want the patrons to be very happy, but we want the artists to be like ecstatic too. And so like, we definitely try to take all that into consideration. Like we want everything to be great for everyone. You know what I mean? Like that's the goal, is for everyone to be like happy. You know?
Of course, the goal is not to make people unhappy. But
I'm just saying though, it's not like we actually
like,
do paint
from down to like the team, the culture that you set like internally, as well as like with the community that come to the shows. Like that's always been very important to us, and so there's like a really down to earth, like good human vibe with the team. And like a lot of times, if you go to like, if you think about like, no offense, but like Vegas clubs or like Miami or like other like big metropolitan like cities, a lot of times when you go to like venues or shows, it might have a stuffier feel.
Pretentious.
It's more pretentious. People are all in their own world. You might be encountering more rude people. Like sometimes the security is mean mugging and people, and like it just might be a different experience. Yeah.
For
so
sure.
like with us, it's really important to like have that kind of Austin identity, and it's just intrinsic to like what we do and the people here. And when artists like see and recognize that, like that's really special because it's the full experience. It's like, you can tell and feel that a lot of passion and like all of that go into what we do, from the production, like the sound, the lighting, like the lineups, like the quality of the DJ sets, even from like the openers, all of that, to the team, the way people are interacting. And so when we get to hear that affirmation from all different types of artists, it's very special because a lot of these people are playing like everywhere in the country or everywhere internationally. And so a lot of them just feel that like wholesomeness, and that's special to us.
Yeah. And I definitely think like we've done, I'm not to go too far back or anything crazy or in the middle, but we've done other shows in other places like San Antonio, some Dallas, whatever, but we never just felt like super like connected to a lot of those places. I mean, not a ton, but we
I would
definitely
just say
tried
it's
them,
because being tapped in like locally, like if we don't live there, we can't cultivate all like the little all aspects of the venue, because it wouldn't be our venue, or like the staff or like the people, doing the events in our like city, which is our home, is important because like all of those things come together. And if you just do an event elsewhere, you can't control enough of that dynamic, like it can still be a good show, it can still be cool people and all of that, but I think ultimately what we do is special because of all of those pieces that come from like being rooted in here.
Yeah, and we definitely always like had a connection to Austin. I mean, not only have we been there for a long time, but we just always felt like something was different about Austin. Like the vibe and the culture and the people have always like meant a lot to us. So like that's why we've focused so hard on Austin, like Austin's what we care about. And so that's why we've, I just think that there is something special here. I know it's a little, no offense to anyone, but I know it's been getting a little washed out a little bit, lately from everyone moving in and whatever. But I do think there's something special here in this city, and that's something that I think everyone's kind of connected to. And I think that has made everything so much better because, I think because of that, it's created a really good scene and culture and vibe, like I think it's very important.
Yeah, there totally is. And you can feel it too in the Concourse. Yeah. I mean, like Brent said, we're both from Seattle, and I used to work in the music industry up there in festivals and clubs and shows and all that. And I've been a DJ since 2011, so 13, 14 years.
Nice.
Not as long as you. But
should come play sometime.
Dude, I'm down.
Like, you've been in the scene, huh? Like,
always need some DJs.
Slot that in my brain.
Talk about it.
Always
10
documenting
o'clock
the
right
people.
before this. And then
But like the scene in Seattle, I mean, so much love because it was beautiful for a long time, but the people just I ended up leaving because it was like so slimy. Like there's a lot of sliminess in the music industry, especially in some of the
slime.
Definitely
trying to avoid the slime, and then coming here and seeing like meeting all the people that are associated with the Concourse Project. It's just such good vibes. And like one time I had a media pass to one of the Seismics, and I'm backstage, and like everybody was so nice.
Yeah.
And it was so not what I'm used to. Like backstage, everybody's so pretentious in Seattle, and they're like, "Who are you? What are you doing here? Can you prove yourself?" And here everybody's like, "Oh, come on. Oh yeah. Come over here, have some snacks."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, this is awesome. This is great." So yeah, you just really feel the Austin hospitality in every inch of the place.
I gotta say it. I do always say it, like the Southern hospitality thing. I really do feel like it's a thing. I mean, I know it's like passe or whatever you want to call it, but I definitely do think it is a thing, and I think that's something that like I've always just felt like has been so helpful in us creating the scene here is like that little bit of Southern hospitality. I think does go a long way. Like I really do. I think it does.
But then that would apply to like everywhere around us. It's not just like Southern hospitality, which definitely is part of that. But I mean, people are just like in Texas, you drive down the street, you wave at your neighbor. Or like you're walking by, like you might like smirk and say hi. But we lived for a little bit in San Francisco. Like we didn't completely leave Austin. We were like doing a back and forth thing because I worked with Google. But you would do that, and like no one would ever even look at you. No one returns it, and you're like, oh, I didn't realize this is like specific to this area. So that's one part of like the identity. But then Austin itself, I feel like is even a different like little subset of that concentric hospitality thing.
Extra special community.
Yeah, there's
here.
more like open-mindedness and all of that, which contribute to like what is very fundamental to our scene. So that's, a perfect little
That's what the rave scene was built on.
Exactly.
Acceptance and community.
And I definitely think like to like go exactly, like to go back to even, what Kelly said earlier too is, we've been cultivating like this underground kind of a scene or just like new artists that nobody knew about. We've been like working on this thing that wasn't like your mainstream artist for a very long time. And so I think that's definitely helped a lot because it's not only is about just the artists and whatever we're doing, but also about the locals. Like we care about the people that are coming to the shows. We care about the locals, DJs. Like we've always just like, I think everything, all the art and all the stuff that there's so many little facets to the whole thing. But we've always cared about all of those things. So I think it's about bringing up everyone, like bringing up the local DJs, bringing up the new DJs that are coming through, bringing up new artists, bringing up art. I mean, there's so many little pieces to all this stuff. And I think that that's something that we've always just really cared about because it all is connected. It's not just like little one-offs and not everything is a part of
like
the scene,
network.
Seriously. I mean, it really is though. It is though. It really is though. It's a real thing.
It is.
That shit's real.
Like that, yeah.
It all pulses through
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
I remember, so I moved during the pandemic. Tony came like a little bit later. And I didn't, like when you live in Seattle, which is basically Canada, you don't think about
Big up Seattle,
anything
Seattle.
past like Oregon or California. Like you don't go east at all in your mind. So like when I was doing research in Texas and whatever and came here and we visited, we're like, whoa, what is this place? It's like we found Narnia and didn't know this even. We thought it was like what you see out the Dallas airport was Texas.
Yeah, we thought Texas was all tumbleweeds and racing.
I know.
Trust us, we
To
know.
this day, certain like major network TV shows will air. Like I remember when I was young, like 90210, they walked in, it was like it was like saloon
Yeah.
and like, tumbleweed going down like the little empty like town square. And I was like, oh my God. And then even recently there was something and they're like playing, like they're in Texas and it was like, and everyone talks like this. And it's just like, we're like, this is so embarrassing. That's not what it's like here. But Texas has its fair share of problems, as we know, but there's a lot of like really cool things that keep us and so many other people here. And you want to be part of like the change. And
I remember, so like it was during the pandemic, me and my sister, we went to a couple shows, like we went to a parking lot Dallas Above and Beyond live stream or something. And then a couple Dallas. And then I remember her fiance moved down, our buddy Roy, and he's like deep into like, he knows artists that were like, you guys nerd out together. It just on another level. And he would just be, you were blowing his mind every single weekend. Like he'll just go, he should have a punch card.
He should, he's like your number one customer.
He's like
punch card.
He's there all the time. And he just like blown away and going to like the first Seismic and just the different types of artists and the, completely just like something like you're over in Europe or like underground and not anywhere, even in other parts of the country that I would really see. So I want to talk about like this concept of Seismic. Like what is your like vision of that? How was that born?
I mean, I guess there's two pieces to it, I guess, right? Like I definitely was, when I mostly segue into her because she definitely came up with the vision and all the things, and I guess, but on the music side, because we're talking about that, I mean, I definitely think that not only for what we've been booking forever too. Sorry to smack this thing. For musically, like we definitely always do want to do new artists and things like that. And I think Seismic is a nice little piece where like I get to kind of like dig a little bit deeper. And the good thing is like we get to like grab those artists and kind of build them up. And I think it's always like, cool, we're doing this Seismic play, or maybe we did a free show, or maybe we do Seismic, then a free show, then we bring them for a headline. Like it's a good way to like build these guys up. And like, because I'm a DJ first, like I definitely, there's almost no one I book that I just book for fun. It's mostly stuff that I like. I mean, there might be a couple of shows, that I book now that we have Concourse Project that I'm like,
it'll do well, but not my thing. Yeah, but like, for the most part, we're like super.
I just want to see what it sounds like in this room.
Yeah, but like definitely when we're talking about like our baby and like shit that I'm like, fuck yeah, like honed into, like Seismic for sure is like, okay, everyone who's playing that festival, I fucking love their music. They wouldn't be on the lineup if I didn't dig them, So like, it's nice to have those little kind of like Easter eggy kind of things where people are like, who the fuck is this? Like, I'm gonna check this out. I don't know if I can cuss, but where we can check all this stuff out and like, people can find out who these new artists are and we can kind of build them in the market. I think that's a big deal. But Seismic as a brand and where that started, she kind of
yes. So, so we've been doing like a regular shows and. We would go out, we would travel and go to like a festival or whatever. And I've like performed for Ultra and like done costume design for like the dancers for Ultra and other festivals. So with my dance group, like I'd be a part of other festivals produced by other companies like Insomniac and all of those. But we found ourselves like really appreciating the more boutique festivals. Like at the time we went to like Dirty Bird, Camp Out and like Holy Ship and all of those types of things. And when it was like a more intimate sized festival experience, it was richer. Yeah. And when it was more niche, like house and techno or something like that, you're like fine tuning like the vibe and the community. Whereas when you go to those very big festivals that have a million stages, a lot of times you're just like spending more time walking from one to the other spot, more time navigating, less time like immersing yourself in music. So we just were like, one day we'll do our own festival because we've got that itch to like do things,
Gotta keep growing,
But like, it's very hard to think of a DJ name that has not already been taken, and it's very hard to think of a festival like name that hasn't already been taken.
All the DJ names you come up with are like dubstep names.
Yeah.
So I gotta, if I ever become a dubstep DJ,
we always
and the U will be a V.
Always. No, that's done, bro. That's done.
So we always would keep a running list, like if like an idea came or whatever, in case he wanted to change his DJ name, or if I started to DJ, and that list still sits there. And then like festival names, like one day we'll have the right one, and then we could start going. And eventually, like Seismic came to mind, and then it was like Seismic Dance Event, and all these things made sense. And then I was like thinking of the motifs like fire and volcano and water and tsunami, and it all came to light. And then we're like, think we're ready to do this. We had done our first like outdoor, like one stage special event.
We did Dirty Bird Barbecue.
We partnered with Dirty Bird to do the Dirty Bird Barbecue in Austin, and we did several of those. We did like Anjuna Deep open air.
Yeah. Those were like our first like forays into large scale.
Yeah.
events.
So we're like, okay,
we're like,
we did this. We figured out like rules and responsibilities for it. Like let's do our own, like let's do Seismic. So we actually debuted Seismic for the first edition the same year that we actually started doing those. So like or I don't know, it was like June, it was May or June that we did like Dirty Bird Barbecue, and then June Deep Open Air, then by September was Seismic.
21st, I think. September 21? 21?
2018.
No, the September 21st, 2018.
The first, I don't know, but
it was 21st, I think.
Anyway, so yeah, then we just continued to grow it. And so like we've always had to deal with adversity. So like the first edition, 4 days before the event, we had to relocate it because it was like super rainy and it was flooding Carson Creek Ranch. Oh, yeah. But we're like, we're not going to cancel. And so then we figured it out, and Travis County Expo Center was available. So we like relocated the entire festival. And that's a lot of details.
That was a lot.
Like you have to do.
Especially for like our first
a short period of time. Yeah. And so then the second edition was at Austin American Statesman. But then like after that was when we were like, okay, we need to find a new spot, which, eventually led to finding Concourse. And then since then it's been there. But.
And I will say, just for anyone who's listening who is like, it's crazy what they're doing. Like, I hope I can do that. And if you do it, something similar, and you run into problems, that shit does happen. Because even the first one we did, honestly, I did not think we would survive past the first one. I thought we were done. I thought that was like, yo, we put all of our eggs in this basket finally. We've been working so hard for this, hit this thing. Like, we, to be honest, lost our ass on it. And I thought that we were done there. I mean, things panned out where we were able to keep going somehow, some way. I mean,
you just
we're still
keep
here.
The ball rolling.
Yeah, you just keep going. You got to keep moving, right? But I definitely will say, like, and you can ask her, like, I cried. I thought we were done. I thought everything we put into this business for so long was gone. And now it's bigger than ever and so awesome. But I definitely it was a hard moment. And there are those moments. And I'm just saying, like, if you hit those moments, like, you got to just, I'm not saying like, do something crazy, but definitely like if you can keep pushing, like nothing comes easy, man.
Yeah,
that's all.
If you just persevere, like honestly, it's just like stamina. If you can just keep going, like that alone gets you somewhere. A lot of people we've done this for so long, people will always pop up and like try to do events or try to do a dance group or try to do something, and then they eventually like fizzle out and disappear. And it takes a lot, to like really dedicate your like life to it, which we have. We also have each other, because if it was just one or the other doing it, it could be very isolating because of just like the amount of work takes a toll, the gamble of it can take a toll, and like you lose your like social life to an extent. We made our social life within it, I
was gonna say it also becomes your social life, which
exactly.
is cool.
But like if you're very serious about it, like just stamina and like perseverance really does change things. And you just have to really know, like if you're really on to something, and if you just keep going, it'll get there. If you're like, I don't know, this seems fine, like maybe that's a little too like flippant to go this route, but
yeah. I just felt like I had to mention that because it has not been easy. It's been a hard road. So,
what advice do you guys have for couples that are in business together that are building something really big that almost seems bigger than you?
Don't do it. Don't. I'm playing.
Get out while you still can.
Well, I think it depends on your dynamic.
Yeah, for sure.
But what we do, like we mostly met because of this world, like we were both so dedicated to it. So that was already our commonality. And so we shared that. We were very eye to eye musically, quality wise, and everything that we were doing. And we definitely butt heads, especially back in the day when I had to handle like all our taxes. Every time it was tax time, like we get in fights because I'm like, why didn't you do this document? I told you to use a spreadsheet. And
I'm not that kind of person.
And it's just, you get into your arguments. So it's not like a walk in the park, but in many ways it was, because like I said, you couldn't explain all the things that we like go through to someone that's not in it. But so we're definitely super powered because we're both like so involved in what we do. But there are definitely like the conflict side of things. And then as you grow your team and then like that whole aspect, you have...
Which he also is better at doing than me.
Yeah. There's a lot of learnings. Yeah. Now we're in the era of therapy and talking about it with a professional too. So, I mean, there's a lot of like layers to this industry and like sobriety and all of that, which I love to see so many more people like going on their sobriety journey and learning to like, it's music first, right? It's not just about party first, which a lot of people think. And if you're truly dedicated to it, like music-wise, it's changed your life, it's a release, then you need to find like ways to keep it in your life without making it always like at a like detriment to your health. And so we're growing up in this and you're seeing people like change their ways in terms of how they party, how they enjoy music. And there's just a lot of parts of this business and a lot of learning and a lot of like trial and error. And
I mean, yeah, it's so interesting because, I mean, the scene is still growing, and which I think is so crazy. Like, I mean, when we started, you know, it was like house music and stuff. You know, it's been around forever, right? But like, but like, it was smaller, right? And it's just grown so much. And then there was the bubble burst, and then it was like building that back up. And then, you know, there were just there's been so many trials and tribulations for sure, right? But right now it's like, it's just growing. It's still growing. I mean, they're projecting it to continue to grow, which is crazy, which I just think is so awesome. I mean, I wish I grew up when I was young with house music. I mean, we got kids growing up when they're fucking 2 years old DJing now and shit. Like, it's crazy. Like, I just think that's so badass. And like, I think it's so cool that the scene gets to start there with these younger generation and stuff. And I think also sobriety and stuff, and how, you know, it's just everything is always changing all the time and evolving and stuff, especially in the scene, which, I mean, I think for us, like, we're always like, you know, we're ready to go. And also, where is it going to go? I'm always like keeping my eye on like the scene and like where music is and also where the scene is. And like, you know, so I just think that that's important too. And things are going to evolve and things are going to change, but it's like, you know, I think passion and caring about music, obviously, number one, right? And then just like figuring that out, like, you just got to figure it out. And I think everything's headed in a good direction. And I think that's inspiring, because I mean, shit, I never knew we'd be where we are right now, you know, talking about this. Like, I never thought I'd be sitting in a chair even talking about I don't know, you know? Like,
I'd say the key to everything, like whether it's working with your partner or just, or not even that, but finding stability and sustainability. I'm actually big on sustainability when it talks about like recycling and all that. But when I say sustainability in this sense, I mean just like making this initiative feel sustainable to like you, like your internal well-being, your team's internal well-being, and the communities, and like always trying to think ahead of like what would be conducive to this scene, to the community, to your team, to yourself. And sometimes you have to like edit like how you go about things, how your hours work, like I don't know. There's a lot of learnings because you burn yourself out, and we've experienced that. We're probably still experiencing
burnt out right
it. Our team members have experienced it, and community members do to their own extent. And like people go through so many different things, and finding ways to like kind of adapt. Like, you know, these days we learn so much more about people with ADHD and all of that stuff. You know, a lot of like learnings are coming that you didn't have when you were younger, and that also informs like how people are in the workplace. A lot of people that have ADHD are predispositions to like electronic dance music. So I feel like the majority of people we know have ADHD.
We do say.
So like the majority of like our team members do, except for like one. And, so it changes people's dynamic, but that becomes the norm. And for me, I'd say is just constantly like evaluating things, like the state of things and what needs to change to make things more conducive to like long-term stability.
Yeah. And I mean, shit, we could talk forever, but I definitely think that like one of the things that I super care about now on that whole note is like just having people care about their mental well-being and all that stuff, especially in the music scene. Like, I think artists and all of us have been putting this shit aside for so long. Like, I got to be an artist. I got to travel. I got to like knock this out. Like, you know, just like people are doing everything to their own detriment. And I think that people are finally starting to realize like all this stuff really does matter. And I think that mental health is like such a small world when it comes to artists and music that like finally you're starting to see that like come up, and like it is a big deal. Like, it's a huge deal. People are finally getting the help they need, but also like, you know, most musicians and stuff, like they do struggle with, you know, drugs and alcohol and all that kind of stuff, because it's what makes sense, especially for people that when we have ADHD and whatever, which I haven't been diagnosed, but pretty sure I got. So it's just that kind of stuff is hard. And I think that it's very exciting to me, at least, to see like things starting to matter in that realm where people are starting to put the time and effort into mental health and stuff. And like, I think it's good for one, but also for two, like it's just cool to see things changing for the better for everyone, because I mean, who knows where all this is going to be in years? I mean, we don't know, right? But it's just nice to see that, because these certain programs and all that kind of stuff did not exist even like 2 years ago, like pre-pandemic, a lot of shit didn't exist. And like now I feel like even that helped be like, okay, well, that shit was pretty crazy. And I think we all need to be looking at like, this shit's pretty wild, So it's just nice to see things still evolving and like moving forward, which is, nice. Which I already said, but
I know longevity. I always told my buddy I want him to write a book on like, because he has infinite amount of energy and just like smokes a little weed and then gets up and has a crazy high powered job, and you're like, you need to write a book on longevity for old people and raving.
How?
Yeah.
I'm like
because
he gets ideas.
He's figured out. He like dances like 6 hours straight and then goes.
He's an Energizer bunny. We'll see him at the Concourse. Just literally from open to close, does not stop.
Not
moving.
crazy, just a groove the whole time.
Yeah, groove. Yeah, very sustainable. Sustainable
I like a
groove.
good groove. That's usually what I do. I'm like,
yeah, and then wakes up and like
goes to work.
Yeah, but like runs a massive like team of people, super high stakes job, and I'm like, dude, I'd be sweating.
I know.
That's the next evolution, is being able to figure out like, how do I continue to enjoy the music and the scene that I grew up in, because it gives you so much life, but to not do it in a way that takes you down, right?
Exactly.
You're sleep deprived, or you're overdoing it, or like, how do I integrate this into my lifestyle to get the benefits out of it still?
Honestly, I mean, I'm not like fully sober, but like I don't go hard like I used to. And a lot of our shows, like I won't even like drink or anything these days. And sometimes I do like a few, but like just learning to like kind of change the dynamic is good. Like sometimes you don't have as much fun. You're not like, but sometimes you actually do have like, this was one of the best sets and I was completely sober. And those are so rewarding, because you're like, wow, like big up self and realizing I can still have a great time and not do things. But like you're totally able to like reset and realize that you can experience these things without doing the things that maybe you did when you were younger, or without drinking as much or whatever. And then the next day you feel like great and you get it. Yeah, like Sundays are so important for us, because it's the only day we usually, except for yesterday there was a show, but like usually Sunday is like quiet. No one's really bothering you. There isn't an event. And it's a really important recharge day. And really you need like a couple of those. And getting to enjoy that and not be like, oh, I stayed up until like noon and then you're sleeping and then you have to start work all over again. Like getting a healthier following day is so nice when you start doing that for yourself, and then you start to change like your own patterns and behavior.
I definitely think, dance music and just in general, the scene has always been like, as they might say, a young kid's game or something, right? But like, I'm 40 now. I'm probably going to be a damn rave grandpa doing this forever. But it's like, I read articles and a bunch of stuff recently too. It's like, it is people that have started when we started, that are keeping this stuff alive and also keeping young kids going through it and stuff, so it's good, because it does matter and stuff that, we care about it. It's a cool thing. And so I think it's just nice to like stay a part of it, but also find the ways to continue to be a part of it. So it's not like, cause we get stories all the time about people like, hey, I haven't been to a show in 10 years or whatever, just started going back out again, love the Concourse Project, stuff like that. And it's so nice to see people that have had kids or have started, a crazy job or have moved on essentially from the scene, but have come back and be like, I miss it so much. I'm so glad I found it again.
Yeah. And the integration for people to come back.
Totally. Honestly, I just got chills even just like thinking about the stories people have told us about that, because it does mean a lot to me. And I think it's something that people shouldn't have to get rid of in their lives if it meant that much.
There's no age limit. I mean, look at Moby, look at Desert Hearts. Like, you can be 70 years old still rocking
and Moby crushed
DJ set.
He crushes it. Fatboy Slim, all those guys, like they're all, they're crushing it right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think with the way things are going with AI and kids are getting more disconnected in their homes and on their laptops and getting potentially more socially awkward, not because of them, but just because of just how technology is. So it's just like a natural development, right? To have places with deep connection, right? And you don't get that. Like I never got that when I was young. Go to a bar and you're like, if you get shit-faced, it's like, whatever, it's superficial and fun. Yeah. But it was, that was the thing about the rave scene that drew you to it, was like, you just feel comfortable there. Yeah. You could go by yourself and you're like, you feel at home. And then you might just start running. Like you guys met each other in a show. My sister met Roy, her fiance, at a show. Yeah. Like
a lot of people we hear that all the time, like at Concourse or getting married or from Real Music Events shows in the past, and it breaks.
I met him because
all our friend groups together. Are from this. Yeah. Nice.
You probably one of your friends gave you a snack when you were at this.
Yeah.
What?
He said he got snacks at Seismic, so I said, yeah, let's get the snacks.
Oh,
that's the
backstage.
But no, for real. I mean, that stuff does
friends now.
Yeah, exactly. Like best friend now. But no, I mean, that's definitely. I mean, shit. When I literally started going to raves and stuff when I was 13, I mean, I was in high school. Like everyone at my high school didn't have any idea what that was, but like I built a friendship. I mean, shit. People like Toddy B and stuff was one of my first hangout sessions when I was like 13 and stuff. We were playing clubs together when he was older, but we're still friends now. He's our realtor and shit, so like people that I met through the scene, I met when I was very young though too, and we stayed friends for a very long time. I mean, I don't know. I don't talk to any of my people from high school. Come on, So yeah.
Wow.
Wholesome.
What do you like? I'm curious, where are your interests going? Or like because you've been in this so long, I feel like you might have like a strong intuitive spidey sense of, the future of like Austin and the scene. And
yeah,
maybe you don't even want to talk about it because you're like, that's a secret.
I definitely have our plans, and I definitely will say sometimes we joke about my spidey sense on certain things. Like I usually am pretty good about knowing like how well a show will do or how many people are going to be there, that kind of stuff. And I do have definitely like where I think we're kind of headed with Concourse Project, also like what we need to do to move forward, also keep growing, also where the scene's headed and stuff, So I definitely have ideas there. I mean, it's hard to talk about per se because I think anytime I do talk about it, there's so many like little pieces to it that we're working on right now. It's hard. Like I hate to be like, well, we're gonna do this, and then not pan out. You know what I mean? But I definitely know that we are definitely always front of mind for
Always
me.
thinking ahead.
Yeah, definitely thinking ahead, but
That's
also
the
front of mind is
ADHD
like
superpower right
for
there.
sure.
Because you're way out in the future.
I definitely
scanning everything.
I always say I'm futuring all the time. Like it is for sure. But I also think for us, because even making Concourse Project and stuff, like I almost feel like because we've been doing shows for so long, I almost feel like a responsibility to like I want to continue to grow the scene because I know it deserves it, especially in Austin, So it's always like, okay, what do we got to do to keep it going? Because I think we've done a lot to our own detriment in the past as well. Like, I mean, we've always put the scene and things ahead of even ourselves a lot. I think we're trying to obviously like not always be doing that all the time because I think it's not the best thing to be doing, but I do think that for me, I'm always like, okay, what can we do to like keep this moving? Because I know it can and it should, and we're headed there, right? And what we need to do. So I definitely think about it.
Do you guys ever do like once a year, you guys just take a week off and go somewhere like in super beautiful nature and just completely shut down to just because I feel like that's such an important to like be able to reflect and integrate and then tap into that creativity. Because I imagine you have so much coming at you at all the time.
Yeah.
And you're like, what is my thought? What's somebody else's thought? It's just so much.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to maintain and grow and manage and like
you can have all
and
these things
like all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
You can have all these things that you think that you want to do. And
Yeah.
everyone's like, have you considered this? And you're like, yes, we have.
Yeah, I thought
People
about
don't
50
understand
other things.
Yeah,
too.
because you're not doing something doesn't mean you're not going to. It's
Yeah.
just like you can only knock out so many things at a time, and then like just to keep the machine going takes so much time. And like people, I feel so bad if you've ever sent an inquiry. It's probably not you that we haven't gotten back about, but it's just like so much of our time and dedication go to like constant discourse with our team. Like it's just every moment you're like in a meeting or you're doing something, and like I'm just completely focused on like our work chats, and then like all the other emails and texts and all those things accumulate, and you can only like get to so many things because you've got your mission critical work to do. So it's always hard to get to everything. But in terms of what lays ahead, there's like our own business next steps, which are what they are. But then I would say at a like more high level, industry wide and all of that, I think it goes back to like what I was talking about is like everyone shifting towards things that favor like well-being more. And back in the day, like when we were doing our shows and the scene was smaller, you expect and want everyone to go to every single show. Like we would be at every single show. Like we would never miss our own events for so many years. And you wanted it to be like, you want to portray it because you feel it and believe it, that this event is not something that you want to miss. Like, trust me, like the sounds are going to be amazing, like everything, like you don't want to miss it. And that was the case. Yeah. And we're partly guilty of like pushing that narrative. It's not a narrative, it was truth. that we wanted you to go to all of them. And if you missed it, we're like, what's wrong with you? Like, you know,
that's true.
But
I mean, we didn't miss any of our own
days,
shows forever
because there's so much choice and there's so much quantity and volume of things. You just can't do it all. And we can't even go to all of our own shows. And so we've been missing more shows, even if it's like an artist and style of music that we like. I couldn't have even fathomed that I would not go to this because it's one of my favorite artists.
Yeah.
But like you start to listen to yourself and knowing like how intense things are, how busy things are, and like how little downtime you've gotten. Sometimes you're like, we need the calmness. We need the mental stillness of just staying at home and being disconnected so that we can recharge. And so a lot of people are doing that, like our friends, people we know, like coworkers, like people are so much more aware of like where they're at internally and what they need to do. And we just went on a trip. So like, that is very necessary for us. I'll usually have to like not look at WhatsApp. I'll have to like completely disconnect because like otherwise it's just constant. Like I'm not letting my brain take a moment, you know? So I disconnect, and we were in Italy visiting his mom, and it was super nice. And you do end up like showing that like your ambition always comes back to the same thing. Like you think, maybe I don't do this anymore. I need to be calm and free. But like all our ideas and all our aspirations and all our vision comes back to that stuff, like the events, the fashion associated with it, all of it, the whole thing, the experience, the festival, and it gets us going. But you have to listen to yourself and take those breaks. And I think that's an industry-wide thing. Like artists, when they're touring, have to listen to like, you can't just go just because you physically have the opening on your schedule. Like
I don't even know
you need downtime. And like look at the Avicii documentaries. If you haven't seen them, like watch them. There's multiple. But it's really important for everyone to kind of like reset what their relationship to all of this is.
And I think that's fine too, especially for us. Like, I mean, we're doing, so many shows and, more than we've ever done for sure. But I think it is one of those things too. It's like, you might miss this artist, but, they're probably going to come back more than likely. But also, I think we've got so many other great shows, and like maybe you did miss, I don't know, somebody like a John Summit or something, right? Like, cool. But there's all these other artists that are very similar. Like, fine, I missed that one, but I'm going to go catch this other artist who I haven't seen and go catch that one. And like, you're probably going to love it,
Maybe we don't tell people this.
No, I know. I normally would not say that. No, but
they
actually might not come back. Just saying, they might not.
JK.
But no, but I'm just saying, like, the good thing is at least like people are finding new music. And I think that kind of leads or goes back to, not doing just the same old artists and all this stuff all the time, right? It's all about new artists and new things. And the reason why we do free shows is, especially right now when people, are kind of broke right now and people are wondering where the next paycheck's going to come from or whatever they're dealing with, like being able to just get onto the Concourse Project of all places and go for free and like have a great time. Like that's a big deal to us. And also we get to use that as like a way for people to find out about new artists who are going to be big in the next year or two. I think, I would have put them there otherwise, right? So I think that's a nice little give back to people. The free show thing is nice. And then, sometimes you can't make it. Sometimes you're broke. Sometimes you got family shit going on. Sometimes you got whatever. Like take that time, take the time for yourself, and then, come back when you can. And, hopefully we're still there. We
Don't
should be.
miss too much.
Yeah. But we should be there, right? And I think we got plenty of great shows. And I think that, none of the shows are not great. You know what I'm saying?
They're always great.
Yeah.
They're good or even better.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah. Well, on behalf of all of Austin, thank you guys for putting so much love and care and attention and your passion into the Concourse Project, because it seeps through and you can feel it.
No, that's like a big deal to us for sure. I mean, just hearing that is, that means everything to us for sure.
It keeps the like essence of the creative soul of what Austin is moving forward. It's like people like you, like you're bringing what you fell in love with forward.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
Totally.
Yeah. I definitely remember not to continue on, but I definitely I just always hoped that people would someday say something like that or see what we were doing. It's like one of those things. It's like, it's such a, to us, not minute, but I think, when you think about the scene or just people, like you just hope that they see the small little details that she puts into things. Like, people will be like, oh, when they say things like, I realize these small little things, or like, I appreciate this decision. Like, fuck, I just never thought anybody would notice it, but thank God you did. Like, it means a lot.
Just being able to see eye to eye with people who like get it and feel it. Because a lot of people just go through life like,
exactly. Yeah.
But the ones that connect, speak to that sentiment, like it's cheesy, but it really does make it all worth it. Because like
agreed.
Like those connections and just that level of being scene for what you're trying to do is very important.
Yeah.
And it's what we've always like knew was at the root of things. Like this was important for us to keep doing. So we appreciate it.
Literally keeps us going. Like that's like okay, let's go.
Well, guys, buy your Seismic tickets.
Yes.
Coming up, right?
Oh yeah.
November 14, 15, 16.
Phase 2 about to drop. I don't know when this is dropping, but maybe Phase 2 will have already dropped. I don't know.
Somewhere maybe mid-October.
Just get your tickets anyways,
Yes.
no matter what
Yeah.
phase it is.
Even if it's
doesn't
over,
matter.
It's
buy some tickets.
Yeah, and if it's sold out, scalp some. Get them.
It's our 8th edition, so it's 8.0, and the infinity is the kind of symbol and vibe of this one, and
8's her
8's
number.
my favorite number,
Yeah.
so it's gonna be a good one.
It's a lucky one.
Yeah.
We like to inject a lot of meaning into things, so this will be a
Super
good one.
rad.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's
well,
gonna be crazy.
thank you guys for coming. It was
Yeah.
No, thank you for
amazing to
having
talk
us.
to you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
We could talk
sure.
forever. Like I
No,
said.
we could. We can do episode 2.
You might have to
Yeah.
do like the slow
Might
down
have to.
feature instead of
Yeah.
speeding up our voice.
Yeah.
Have to like slow it down because we talk really fast, especially him.
A little chipmunk.
And keep your eyes peeled, Spores, for a potential guest mix.
Oh, yeah.
Drew,
Let's do
pretty
it.
soon.
And potential DJ set at Concourse Project, huh?
That too. We'll do a little B2B.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I don't. Okay, maybe.
Okay. Sweet.
Thanks.
Sick.
All right.
Thank y'all.